Hey, 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 you're looking good today. New hair? New haircut? Why can't I scroll up on my chat? What's up, Dee Dee? How's it going? Nice of you to join. Hey, Wing Chun boys. Glad you could join. Hey, Dan. What's up, Hope? Glad you're here. Pablo, what's up? Bigfoot. Hey, Bigfoot. Greek yogurt. How's it going? What's up, Losh? Nice of you to join. Bully me into agreeing. Agreeing to what? Lulu. What's up, Joshua? How's it going? I'm not late. I'm totally on time. What do you mean? I'm on time. 6 o'clock. Okay? I'm never late. Never ever. Doot, doot, doot. Is this Ting Long Bap? Oh, yes. Yes, it is. It is totally. What's up, Khalil? How's it going? You love my voice? I love your voice too. You have a great voice. Hey, Emily. You know what's been fun? You know what? Wordle. You guys know what Wordle is? It's all over freaking Twitter. But it's pretty fun. So I've been playing that. You want to play it with me? Shall we play? Shall we spend like 10 minutes to play it? I've only played it a couple of times. I haven't lost yet. Okay? Not yet. So let's not hope I lose on stream. Want to play? Hey, Katie. Have I seen the latest Demon Slayer episode? Oh, I haven't watched Demon Slayer. I never watched it. People have recommended it to me, but I haven't watched it yet. Alright, let's play Wordle. Before we start. What's Wordle? You shall see. All right, so you gotta guess the letter of the day. The letter. You gotta guess the word of the day in 6 guesses. Okay, that's what you gotta do. So, okay. I won't look at chat in case someone already knows the word of the day. I'll try not to look at it. So you gotta guess. So a good strategy is to figure out the vowels first. Okay, to figure out the vowels. So you gotta find a word that has a lot of vowels in it, right? Which I did. I found the perfect word. Okay, I think I found the perfect word. It's foray. All right. I don't know what that means. It means something, but I have no idea what it means. But it's a really good word because it has 4 vowels. Okay. Okay. All it's missing is an O. So it has 4 vowels, and the letter R is pretty common too. So it's a really good word to use. So that's good. All right. So now we know that E is here, and R is somewhere in the word. So next, I usually try to find a word that has a letter R somewhere and an E. All right. So let's see, something E. And hopefully find an O too. Let's find a word that has an R and O with an E right here. Or actually, is there a word? Is that a word? I don't think that's a word. Frost. Because I want to eliminate S and T. And then we have the letter O too. So let's try that. Okay. Okay. The R is not here or here. Maybe it's in the beginning. Robin? No. R and E. Roll. Ryson. Ryson. Roy. Rope. Ra. It has no. The E is the only vowel. Maybe it's double E's. Ra. Ron. Robin. What is this word? Maybe there's a Y? Oh, something EY. Ropey. No, there's no O. I can't look at chat. Okay, I'm not looking at chat. No. What starts with an R? RGRH. RGR. Or is it ER? Something ER. Roper. Something ER, I think. It's gotta be something ER. Full. Hmm. ER. What word has no vowels but an E? It's either ER or EY. Maybe? Like greed? 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 Fuck. Oh, okay. REED. Okay. Deer. De Deary. Greedy. Eater. Net. D. D. Hmm. Word. No. Weed. Weeder. What? Dur. Peter. Maybe it starts with a D. Some D and then ER. Read. Jeer. It must be like a really simple word that I just can't. It's not coming to me. Here. Jared. P. Lead. Leader. Veneer. Come on. Come on. You can do this. Dreet. 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 Dreary. Dreary. Drees. Dreek. Ooh. Breed. Rat. Oh no. What is the word? It's gotta be ER, right? Something ER. Oh no. It's something ER. Darid. That's not a word. Jared. Jared? No. No. Two E's. ER. Feet. Feeder. Meter. Meter. No. Damn it. Meter. Reader. Read. Read. Leader. Lead. God damn it. What is it? Zeter. This is gonna take the whole day, guys. The entire day. We're not stopping until I get this word. Jeet. Cheater. Peter. Lead. Something Radar. Reader. DER. D E Heed. Yeah. It's gotta be like a super simple word. Need. Need. Green. Read. Need. Oh no. Maybe it starts with an E. Every. No. Every. Ever. Ed. R-E-R. D. Does it start with an E? Fuck. I can't. Maybe, okay, at this point, I should just use another. Hmm. Should I try that? Should I try to eliminate as many other letters as possible? Because it's not coming to me. All right, let's do that. So, oh, it starts with an E. Okay, it starts with an E. E, then ER. Okay, I can do this. I can do this. ER. E. This is painful, I know. CEB, EM, L, L, H. Come on. Epper. A. Oh, so close. X. Easy. Easier. Easier. Oh, no A. E. Edge. Ek. A. What is it? Epilogue. Epper. Evie. No. EM. Emmer. Emmer? Emmer? Is that a word? That can't be a word. EK. EL. Eller. Is that a word? It seems like too obscure. I don't think they would choose a very obscure word like that. It's got to be like some super simple word, right? Eller. U. X. XL. Xer. Xer. Ek. Escher. That still seems like a super obscure word. EQ. Equaler. Equal. You. Oh no. EH. That doesn't sound right. Elmer. Like glue? Oh, is it? I don't want to waste a guess. Elmer? Alright. That's not a word. That's not a word. That's not a word. L. Oh, chat's going, but I'm not looking. Are you guys making fun of me right now? Because it's such a simple word. Ease. Heck? What is the word? Episode. Elmer. Elcor. Elyur. Is that a word? That's not a word. Come on. Emperor. Come on. A. X. Z. B. M. L. No. E-H. What is it? Come on. E-L-E-E-R. Is that a word? That's not a word. We're gonna do this for an hour. That's right. This is the stream, guys. Welcome to the Wordle stream. Idiot tries out Wordle. There's no U. Can't be Q. That's stupid. E-K. Eck? Echo. Eck. That's not a word. Ecker. That's not a word. Guys. Heckler. Heckler. Ebb. That's an E, right? Yeah. E-Z? Eckber. Mer. Is her. It's gonna be L. F. Is it Emmer? Emmer. Elmer. Not Elmer, is that right? Ember! Fuck! I thought I had it. Why? Oh, we're our last guess. It's not Ember. What the fuck is it? Sure. Uper. Ep. Were. Now we're getting really obscure. A. Elier. Is that a word? I don't think that's a word. Here. U. Heck. L. It must be an L. L. Elper. Elier. Elper. Elwer. Elwer. Elker. Elzer. Elser. Elixir. Fuck. What is it? Ep. Sure. Or just. Okay. U. User. User. U. A. X. 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 Were. Xcur. What the fuck? What word is this? Aha! I really thought I had Ember. Jesus Christ. Ezra. Zer. Elker. Elher. Elper. Elur. None of those. It's usually a simple word. It's not a hard word. X. Sure. Xcur. Xlur. Expert. Xwer. Xcur. Is it EP? Epler. Kepler. Ebger. Etcher. Exker. Xer. Fuck. East. Echo. Echo. Eager. Why? What is the word? User. That's a word, right? Euchre. Euler. Euler. Euler? No, there's no U. Is there a word that starts with EH? Eswer? Elu? Elher? El. Why did I keep thinking Elier? Is that a word? My brain just mush now. I'm just looking for like weird words now. Ep. What the fuck? I hope this is as painful as I hope this is as painful for you as it is for me. I'm gonna be really sad if I lose. Equal. Elier. Elher. Eclair. Exert. Excur. Exer. Exier. easier. As her. What the fuck? Edge? Elger? Why? Heart. Why? God damn it. EQ. Okay. Let's just go down the list, okay? Weir. No. Ewer. You. Her. Uger. Cur. Hello, 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 hello. Oh God, what is going on? How did I forget the D? Ugh. Okay. How long did that take? Did that take half an hour? I hope it didn't. God. Oh, thanks for the super chat, Hope. One song if I lose. Oh, I won. I didn't lose. Okay, how long did you... Okay, did you guys know Elder? How long did you... Oh. Oh, yeah, people have been saying Elder for a long time. Okay, I gotcha. I gotcha. No, no. You know what happened? I forgot there was a D. So I was looking at all of the letters except for the D. So I didn't... I thought it was Ember too. Anyways. Anyway. All right. Okay. Forgot the D. Yeah. I need the D, guys. You always need the D. All right, let's give me... I have some snacks and then we get started. So Boxu sent me some stuff. So let's see. You know, it's nice to be sponsored. You get free food. I always go for this. Mochi Puffs. Okay. These are really good. Wait, how long did that take? Did that really take half an hour? Jesus. Ooh, these are really good. It's like eating sugary air. Mm. It's so light and airy. And you want to see what's inside? Inside is just... Yeah, it's very puffy. Yeah, so this is inside. See? It's just super airy. I did good. I still got there. Hell yeah. You know what? As long as we get there, okay? Rated out of 10? This is a 10 out of 10, guys. Mochi Puffs. Good stuff. Yeah. Alright. Alright, we're good. Jesus, that took a while. Woo! Alright, what happened last week? Okay, what happened last week? Can you guys hear me? Okay, good. What happened last week? So last week we found out that the man in green, the #1 evil, he's actually the crown prince. Right? He's Crown Prince Yanqing, and apparently he's supposed to be the Dali emperor, but he went missing a long time ago. Right? So he went missing a long time ago, and the throne went to someone else. And the current emperor, who's Duan Zhengming, he's discussing with his advisors whether or not he should give up his throne, right? And of course, everyone decides against it. Okay, this guy can't just come back and take the throne, right? Even though he was the rightful heir to the throne. So they decide against it, and they decide to rescue Duan Yu, right? Who's stuck in a cave, about to make an incest baby. So the emperor enlists the help of his elder brother, who's now a monk, okay, and he's called the yellow-browed monk. He has this these thick eyebrows that go down his face. So they plan to dig underground to the cave where Duan Yu is and extract him, right? Meanwhile, the yellow-browed monk, he's supposed to distract the man in green, right? Who's the old Prince Yanqing. The monk arrives and he Yanqing, the number one evil, doesn't know who he is. So the monk arrives and he carves a straight line on a stone, right? And the number one evil is like kind of curious what's going on, and he also carves a straight line that intersects it with his cane, right? And this kind of shows that they are really powerful. They have really powerful martial arts, really powerful internal energy, because they can carve a straight line on a rock, right? And so supposedly these are very straight lines. They're like just super straight. So it shows that these guys have really powerful martial arts. They keep drawing lines, and pretty soon they have a Go board, right? They have a Go board, and they start playing Go, right? Now they have to first they have to decide who goes first. So the monk gives the number one evil a riddle, right? The monk's like, "Hey, if you can answer this correctly, then you can go first. Otherwise, I go first." So the monk says, "I am now 69 years old. When I am 70, will the number of toes on my feet be even or odd?" And the number one evil is like, well, that's kind of weird. He guesses the monk will have an even number of toes. And the monk shows his toes, and he has 10 toes on each foot, right? And that so it seems like the number one evil would win, but then the monk cuts off his pinky toe, right? Just cuts it right off, because he's a badass. Cuts it off, and he goes, "Oh, when I'm 70, the number of toes I will have will be odd." And the number one evil is like, touche. So they start playing by carving the pieces into the stone. And while that's happening, the Emperor's people are digging towards Duan Yu's cave. And that's where we left off. How's that? Best non-fighting fight scene ever? Where's my window? All right. Chapter 9. A lady married to a fitting place, or the Luan and Feng who exchange nests. Apparently, Luan and Feng is a reference to a husband and a wife. Okay. Upon hearing that Emperor Baoding had abolished the salt tariff, the tens of thousands of citizens of Dali felt extremely grateful. Yunnan did not produce a great deal of salt. Throughout the country, only the cities of Beijing, Heijing, Yulong, and 6 others produced salt. Every year, they would need to import salt from Shu. The salt tariff was extremely heavy, often forcing many of the poorer citizens at the outlying regions of the country to go without. Emperor Baoding knew that as soon as he abolished the salt tariff, the yellow-browed monk would certainly try to think a way to rescue Duan Yu, so as to show his gratitude. Right, so the emperor told the monk that he would abolish the salt tax. So that's why the monk is agreeing to help at this moment. He had always admired the yellow-browed monk's intelligence and martial arts, and also knew that the monk's 2 disciples were not weak either. With the 3 of them working together, they would certainly achieve victory. Much to his surprise, after waiting an entire day and an entire night, he hadn't received any news of success at all. He was just about to send out Ba Tianxi to investigate when he discovered that Ba Tianxi, the Minister of Education, Hua, and that Ba Tianxi, Minister of Education Hua, and Minister of War Fan had all disappeared as well. Emperor Baoding pondered to himself. Can it be that Crown Prince Yanqing truly is this formidable? Can it be possible that the yellow-browed monk, his 2 disciples, and my 3 ministers have all fallen to him within the 10,000 Calamities Gorge? He immediately sent for his imperial crown brother Duan Zhengchun, the self-subduing princess Dao Baifeng, the Marquis of Virtuous Enlightenment Gao Shengtai, and the 4 imperial bodyguards to once more make their way to the 10,000 Calamities Gorge. Her heart aching for her beloved son, Dao Baifeng asked Emperor Baoding to call out the imperial army and totally obliviate the gorge. Emperor Baoding replied, "Unless we're completely out of all other options, we must act in accordance with the customs and rules of the Jianghu. The centuries-old instructions of the Duan family ancestors cannot be cast aside." The party arrived at the entrance to the gorge, only to see Yun Zhonghe approach them with a little smile on his face. Cupping his hands politely, he said in a deep voice, "We 4 evils and Gorge Master Zhong anticipate that you, sir, would once more honor us with your presence today. I have been respectfully waiting for you here for a long time. If you have brought your armored soldiers here, we will simply escape, taking with us our beloved son and your precious daughter. But if you have come here in accordance with the rules of the Jianghu, intending to greet friends based upon your martial ability, then please enter the main lounge and enjoy some tea." Emperor Baoding saw that he was extremely calm and showed not a single hint of fear, acting in a manner far different from the previous day, where he had immediately rushed out and launched an attack. This made him feel all the more alarmed. Instantly, he cupped his hands as well. "Yeah, it couldn't be better if that is truly the case." Yun Zhonghe escorted the party inside the lounge. Upon stepping foot within, Emperor Baoding saw that room was filled with heroes of the Jianghu. Yue Erniang and the Divine Crocodile were there as well, but Crown Prince Yanqing was nowhere to be seen. Once again, he secretly prepared for the worst. Yun Zhonghe cried out loudly, "Master Duan, the head of the Duan family of the Southern Skies has arrived." He didn't use the phrase His Majesty, the Emperor of Dali, but rather introduced him in accordance with his Wu Lin title, showing that everything would proceed in accordance with the rules of the Jianghu. Not only was Duan Zhengming the ruler of a country, but he was also an extremely esteemed expert in the Wu Lin, of great prestige and stature. As soon as the crowd heard that he had arrived, they all immediately rose to their feet. Only the Divine Crocodile remained sitting. He loudly shouted, "I was wondering who showed up. So it's the old emperor, eh? How are you doing?" Zhang Wanqiu quickly rushed forward and said, "I, Zhang Wanqiu, did not come to welcome a distant guest. Please forgive me." Emperor Baoding said, "You're too polite, too polite." Presently, everyone retook their seats. Their positions were in accordance with the rules of the Jianghu. Duan Zhengchun, his wife, and Gao Shengtai no longer needed to act in accordance with the rules governing how a subject should behave in front of his ruler, and so sat next to Emperor Baoding. Chu Wanli and the other 3 guards stood behind Emperor Baoding. Servants of the gorge came to them, offering them tea. Emperor Baoding, seeing that the yellow-browed monk Ba Tianxi and the others were not here, was busy formulating a way which would allow him to inquire about their whereabouts. Suddenly he heard Zhang Wanqiu speak. "Master Duan, you've really given me a huge amount of face. It's so seldom that so many good friends would be gathered in one place. Come, let me introduce them to you." Following this, he began to introduce the other guests one by one. Some were heroes from the Central Plains to the north. The rest were all outstanding members of Dali's Wulin community. They included Xin Chuangqing, Zuo Zimu, and Ma Wude, amongst others. Emperor Baoding had never met most of the people present, but had heard of their names. These heroes of the Jianghu all respectively paid their respects to Emperor Baoding. Some were extremely respectful. Others intentionally acted arrogantly. Others addressed him using the language that a Wulin person who was of a junior generation to him might use. So the emperor is visiting. The emperor is now at the 10,000 Calamities Gorge. He's visiting these guys, and there's a bunch of heroes, right? Zhong Wanshou said, "It is a rare thing for Master Duan to come here. Why not stay here for a few additional days? That way you could get to know all the friends here better." Emperor Baoding replied, "It would be enough if you could pardon Duan Yu for his offense, Gorge Master Zhong. He has been detained at your noble residence. Today I have come here for two reasons. Firstly, to ask for clemency on his behalf. Secondly, to offer my apologies. Gorge Master Zhong, I hope that you will give me some face and forgive the ignorance of the child. I will be extremely grateful." Upon hearing his words, everyone secretly felt admiration for him. They thought to themselves, "We've long heard that Emperor Duan acts in accordance with the rules of the Wulin. His reputation is well earned. This place falls within the borders of the country of Dali. He only needs to send out a few hundred cavalrymen and would immediately be able to take his nephew back. Who would have thought that he would come in person and instead ask in such a respectful language?" Zhong Wanshou laughed loudly, but did not immediately respond. Ma Wude said, so Duan Yu offended Gorge Master Zhong. Some time ago, he went to the city of Pu'er, then went sightseeing with me and my brothers at Mount Wuliang. I didn't take good care of him, and this was the cause of so many problems. I would also like to request clemency on his behalf." The divine crocodile suddenly shouted, "What right do you have to meddle in the affairs of my apprentice?" Gao Shengtai said coldly, "The young Lord Duan is your master. You've even knelt down and kowtowed to him. Are you reneging on that?" The divine crocodile's entire face turned red. He cursed, "Fuck your grandmother! I'm not reneging. Today I'm going to kill the brat who is my master only in name. I wasn't careful, and somehow ended up accepting that brat as my master. I'm dying of shame." No one in the crowd knew what he was talking about, and each and every one of them was flabbergasted. Dao Baifeng said, "Gorge Master Zhong, whether or not Duan Yu will be released lies in a single word from you. Zhong Wanshou laughed. Release. Of course I will release him. What good does it do me to keep your honorable son?" Yun Zhonghe interjected. "Duan Yu is romantic and handsome. Madame Zhong, the lovely Yaksha, is an extremely beautiful woman. To keep him within the gorge would be like leading a wolf into sheep's den, or like raising a tiger with your children. Naturally, Gorge Master Zhong will release him. He can't help but release him. He doesn't dare not release him." Upon hearing these words, everyone present was startled. They realized that this thoroughly cruel and evil Yun Zhonghe spoke without the slightest scruples, as though he really didn't give a damn about Gorge Master Zhong. His nickname, thoroughly cruel and evil, really was not mistakenly given. Zhong Wanshou was furious. Turning his head, he said, "Brother Yun, after finishing the business at hand, I would like to experience your brilliant moves." Yun Zhonghe replied, Wonderful. I've long wanted to kill the husband, seize the wife, then settle down within this gorge." The face of everyone present turned pale. Xin Shuangqing, lady of the Wuliang cave, spoke. "The good and noble heroes of the world haven't been exterminated. No matter how high the martial arts of you four evils are, you won't escape justice in the end." In a coquettish, delicate voice, Yu Erniang said, "Taoist friend Xin, Yu Erniang, haven't offended you. Why rope me in with him? There's so many people here. Zuo Zimu, suddenly recalling how she had abducted his son, couldn't help but have lingering fears. He snuck a sideways glance at her. Yu Erniang laughed. Mr. Zuo, your little boy must be even fatter and cuter now, right? Remember, she kidnapped his son. She's the one who just she kills a baby every day. Zuo Zimu didn't dare not to respond. He said in a low voice, last time he was exposed to the cold. He hasn't fully recovered from the illness yet. Yu Erniang laughed again. Oh, I'm sorry. It's all my fault. Later, when I have a chance, I'll head over to your mountain and pay a visit to my cute little grandson. Zuo Zimu was terrified. He quickly replied, I wouldn't dare to trouble you to come. Emperor Baoding thought to himself, these four evils have perpetrated many atrocities and committed many outrages. Many people have formed grudges and enmities against them. These Jianghu heroes clearly aren't their allies. This makes things so much more easier to handle. After rescuing Yuer, I should take the chance to eliminate these evil people. Although the leader of the four evils, Crown Prince Yanqing, is a member of the Duan family, making it inappropriate for me to personally deal with him, there will still be a day when he is truly called to account for his monstrous crimes. Dao Baifeng, hearing everyone speak, saw that the conversation was getting derailed. She suddenly stood up. Gorge Master Zhong, as you have agreed to return my son, please return him to me, and let the two of us, mother and son, meet. Zhang Wanqiu also stood up. All right. Suddenly, turning his head, he shot a glance towards Duan Zhengchun. He sighed. Duan Zhengchun, you have such a wonderful wife and son. Why aren't you satisfied and remain so greedy? Today, when your reputation is trampled underfoot, and when you lose all face, you will have no one to blame but yourself. You cannot blame me, Zhang Wanqiu. Duan Zhengchun, after hearing that Zhang Wanqiu was willing to release his son, immediately suspected some sort of conspiracy or trap, as he did not believe the matter would be settled so easily. Now, upon hearing Zhang Wanqiu's words, he immediately stood up and walked to Zhang Wanqiu's side. Gorge Master Zhong, if you have maliciously harmed him, then I assure you that I, Duan Zhengchun, will also have a method to make you bitterly repent your actions for the rest of your life. Zhang Wanqiu saw that he had a majestic appearance and had an awe-inspiring presence, with a magnificent and lofty aura. He felt that he himself truly was vastly inferior to this man. A feeling of shame suddenly filled his chest, and it engendered a jealous flame in his heart. He loudly said, since things have already come to this point, I'm going to take this all the way to the end, even if the final result is that I become destitute and homeless. I have my corpse broken into 1,000 pieces. If you want your son back, come with me. And as he spoke, he strode away from the hall entrance. The group of people followed Zhang Wanqiu as he arrived at the giant tree wall. Yun Zhonghe, showing off his Qinggong abilities, was the first to leap over the wall. Duan Zhengchun thought to himself, we've almost reached the point of no return. We might as well demonstrate our power and prestige so as to cause the other side to know how much disaster will be in store for them, and perhaps retreat. He called out, Ducheng, chop the tree down, so that everyone will find it easier to pass. Gu Ducheng responded, yes, sir, and he raised his steel hatchets. With a series of quick ka-ta sounds, he immediately chopped down one of the trees. Fu Sigui launched a twin palm attack on the tree. With a loud crash, it fell down to the side. The steel hatchet, gleaming with bright light, continued to chop away. The chopping sounds went on non-stop, and the large trees were felled one after another in succession. In short time, all that could be seen were 5 tree stumps. It had not been easy at all for Zheng Wanqiu to plant and cultivate. Why? They just cut down his trees. It had not been easy at all for Zheng Wanqiu to plant and cultivate this wall of trees. He had labored mightily, and it had cost him a great deal of blood and sweat. After seeing them chopped down by Gudu Cheng, he couldn't help but become agitated and furious. But then he had second thoughts. Today, the Duan family of Dali is going to lose a huge amount of face. Why quibble over such a small things as this? He immediately walked past the cleared stumps, only to see that past the chopped down wall, the yellow-browed monk and Duan Yanqing were both pressing against a steel cane. A cloud of white mist hovered over their heads, showing that they were in the middle of an internal energy competition. The yellow-browed monk suddenly stretched out his right hand and used a small steel hammer to draw a circle on a blue stone in front of him. The man in green thought for a moment, then stretched out his right steel cane and pressed it downwards on the blue stone. Staring at them, Emperor Baoding immediately realized that his martial brother, the yellow-browed monk, was competing in both chess and internal energy with Crown Prince Yanqing. It was a competition of both intelligence and strength. The competition was as fresh and original as it was deadly. He thought to himself, "You never gave me an update. It seems as though it is because this competition has been going on for 1 day and 1 night, without victory or defeat having been achieved." Wow, they've been playing this game for a whole day? Glancing at the chess game, he saw that the 2 sides were locked into a life or death knot. Victory and defeat would completely depend on the resolution of this knot. However, the yellow-browed monk was in the weaker position, barely keeping his pieces alive with strenuous effort. His 2 disciples, Po Qi and Po Chen, had fallen unmoving to the ground. Earlier, upon seeing their master in a critical situation, had attacked the man in green from both sides in a pincer attack, but both of them had been felled by his steel cane. Duan Zhengchun walked forward and unsealed their acupoints. "Wanli, you 4 go and push aside the stone and rescue Yu. Xu Wanli and the other 3 replied in the affirmative and walked forwards as well. Zhang Wanqiu called out, "Wait! Do you know who else, in addition to Duan Yu, is in this stone house?" Duan Zhengchun angrily said, "If you use ruthless tricks to coerce my son, then you should remember that you yourself have a wife and daughter." With a cold expression on his face, Zhang Wanqiu laughed. "Right on. I, Zhang Wanqiu, do indeed have both a wife and a daughter. Fortunately, I don't have a son, much less a son who will engage in depraved, incestuous acts with his own sister." Duan Zhengchun's face turned ashen. He called out, "You're full of crap. What are you babbling about?" Zhang Wanqiu said, "Mu Wanqing is your daughter, is she not?" Duan Zhengchun angrily replied, "What business is it of yours as to what her origins are, you busybody?" Zhang Wanqiu laughed. "I'm not necessarily a busybody. Dali's Duan family serve as the rulers of the southern world and dominate it. Your name is also famous and prestigious within the Wu Lin. Heroes and noble men present. Open wide your eyes and watch as Duan Zhengchun's son and daughter become husband and wife, fornicating like animals." He made a hand signal towards the divine crocodile, and the 2 of them prepared to push aside the boulder which was blocking the door. So Zhang Wanqiu invited a bunch of heroes to his house, right? Just to witness this incestuous act. Duan Zhengchun called out, "Wait!" He extended his hands to halt them, but Yun Zhonghe and Yu Erniang each sent out a palm to attack him from 2 sides, forcing him to block. Slanting his body, Gao Shengtai surged forwards and blocked Yun Zhonghe's palm attack. But unexpectedly, both Yu Erniang's attack and Yun Zhonghe's attacks were feints. Although they waved their right hands in a false attack, they simultaneously pressed their left palms against the boulder as well, and exerted their force. The giant boulder weighed thousands of jin, but faced with the combined efforts of Yu Erniang, Zhang Wanqiu, Yun Zhonghe, and the divine crocodile, immediately rolled aside. Okay, what's going to happen? What are they going to find within the cave? This trick was something which the four of them had long ago planned out. It was very difficult to discern, and there was no way for Duan Zhengchun to stop them. And in all honesty, Duan Zhengchun was worried sick about his son, and thus didn't use all of his efforts to stop them from rolling the boulder aside. After the boulder was rolled aside, a doorway was exposed. The insides of the house was dim and dark, and the circumstances inside could not be seen. Zhang Wanqiu laughed. A lonely man and a single woman, completely naked, together inside a dark room. What type of good things might they possibly be doing aside? Everyone, take a good look. In the middle of Zhang Wanqiu's laughter, a young man with tousled hair, naked from the waist up, walked out. He was only wearing a pair of shorts, exposing most of his legs as well. It was Duan Yu. In his arms, he held a woman. The woman cuddled into his arms. She too was only wearing her underwear, exposing her arms and her thighs, as well as much of the pure white flesh of her back. Emperor Baoding's entire face was flooded with shame. Duan Zhengchun lowered his head, unable to look. Tears filled Dao Baifeng's eyes. She mumbled to herself, "Karma. This is karma." Gao Shengtai removed his own gown, preparing to give it to Duan Yu to wear instead. Ma Wude, wholeheartedly trying to ingratiate himself with the two brothers of the Duan family, hurriedly stepped forward and stood in front of Duan Yu, concealing him. The divine crocodile called out, "Son of a bitch, fuck off!" Extremely delighted, Zhang Wanqiu continued to laugh loudly. Then suddenly his laughter came to an abrupt halt. He fell silent for a long moment, and let out a wretched shout. "Linger? Is that you?" Upon hearing his loud cry, the hearts of the entire crowd trembled. Zhang Wanqiu suddenly pounced towards Duan Yu, snatching at the woman whom he was holding in his arms. At this time, everyone present could now see this girl's face. Her age was certainly younger than that of Mu Wanqing, and her figure was also smaller and slimmer. A look of youthfulness remained on her face. It wasn't Mu Wanqing, it was Zhang Wanqiu's own daughter, Zhongling. When the group of heroes had first arrived at the 10,000 Calamities Gorge, Zhang Wanqiu had brought her to the Grand Hall to introduce her to the guests, with the intention of showing off his beautiful, adorable daughter. Somewhat confused and bewildered, Duan Yu saw that there were many people in front of him. He recognized his uncle and his parents, and immediately released Zhongling, allowing Zhang Wanqiu to take her away from him. He called out, "Mother, uncle, father!" Dao Baifeng rushed towards him, embracing him within her arms. Are you all right?" Bewildered, Duan Yu replied, I'm not sure." Okay, so Mu Wanqing is gone, and in her place is Zhongling, right? So what's going on? Not only had Zhang Wanqiu failed to harm his enemy, he had harmed himself instead. How could he have imagined? How could he have imagined that the woman whom Duan Yu carried out in his arms would actually be his own daughter? Days he let go. Oh, God. Need some water? Days he let go of his daughter. Zhongling was only wearing some form-hugging undergarments. Seeing so many eyes on her, her entire face blushed red. Zhang Wanqiu took off his own gown, wrapping it around her, and slapped her on the face, causing her left cheeks to redden even more. He scolded her. Oh, excuse me. He scolded her. "Shameless! Who would Who told you to get together with that little swine? Zhongling's face was a picture of grievance at being falsely accused and started to cry. How could she explain everything in such a short time? Zhong Wanshou suddenly thought to himself, Mu Wanqing clearly was imprisoned within the stone house. I doubt she was able to push the boulder aside. She must be within the house still. I'll go drag her out and have her help shoulder some of the humiliation which Lingerer is suffering. He loudly cried out, Miss Mu, hurry up and come out. He called out 3 times, but heard no sound within the house. Zhong Wanshou rushed inside the house. The stone room was only 10 feet wide and long. It was obvious at first glance that there wasn't even a shadow of a person within. Zhong Wanshou was so angry that he felt as though his chest would explode. He left the room and struck out with another palm towards his daughter. He screamed, Stupid girl! I'm going to kill you! But suddenly a hand stretched out from the side, with the ring finger and the little finger striking towards his wrist. Zhong Wanshou hurriedly withdrew his hand to escape the blow, and turned his head. The person who had interfered was Duan Zhengchun. He angrily said, I'm teaching my daughter a lesson. What business is it of yours? Chuckling, Duan Zhengchun said, Gorge Master Zhong, you really treated my son incredibly well during his stay here. You were afraid that he would get lonely by himself and ordered your precious daughter to come here and keep him company. I am incredibly grateful towards you. This being the case, your precious daughter is already a member of my Duan family. How can I not interfere? Zhong Wanshou roared, How is she a member of your Duan family? Duan Zhengchun laughed. Within this stone room, your daughter attended to the needs of my son, Duan Yu. They've been together quite some time now. As you said, a lonely man and a single woman, completely naked, together inside a dark room. What type of good things might they possibly be doing aside? My son is the heir to the South-subduing palace. Although he might not be able to take on your daughter as his chief wife, he can still take her on as a concubine. For the nobility, what's wrong with having 3 wives or 4 concubines? Oh, he should know. It looks as like you and me have become in-laws. Zhong Wanshou was unable to suppress the violent rage which filled him, and rushed towards Duan Zhengchun. Hoo, hoo, hoo! He struck out with 3 palms. His laughter not stopping, Duan Zhengchun neutralized each of his attacks. Everybody present thought to themselves, Dali's Duan family really is formidable. I wonder what method they used to abscond with Gorge Master Zhong's daughter, then imprison her within the room. Zhong Wanshou is a citizen of Dali, but repeatedly sets himself against the Duan family and stirs up trouble for them. Isn't he really asking for trouble? As it happened, this entire scene was planned out by Hua Hegen and the other 2. After kidnapping Zhongling and taking her down into the tunnel, Hua Hegen's original idea was to prevent her from leaking out their plans. Only after hearing Zhong Wanshou and his wife speak did he realize that Zhong Wanshou and Crown Prince Yanqing had created such a devious, ruthless plan to destroy the reputation of the Duan family. Remember, they dug into the wrong room and they found Zhongling, right? So they just took her, they just kidnapped her, and then actually found the right cave. The 3 of them discussed the situation in a low voice within the tunnel. All 3 of them knew that this was a matter of the gravest importance. Moreover, time was of the essence. As soon as Madame Zhong left, Ba Tianxi quietly left the tunnel and scouted out the area. He found the exact location of and distance to the stone house and informed Hua Hegen. All of them sped up their excavating pace. They were busy for yet another night, digging until dawn broke. Only then did they arrive at the stone house. Pa Hugen dug his way into the stone house, only to see Duan Yu running around the room madly, as though he had gone insane. He stretched out his hand to grab him, but Duan Yu's movements were both fast and bizarre, and he wasn't able to get a hold of him. Ba Tianxi and Fan Hua also entered the room and surrounded Duan Yu. The room really was too small, and there was nowhere Duan Yu might go. Pa Hugen stretched out his hand and grabbed Duan Yu's wrist, but his entire body immediately shook. He felt as though he had grabbed onto a hot coal. He quickly tugged hard, trying to knock Duan Yu into the tunnel so that they might quickly escape. But as soon as he exerted his strength, he felt his internal energy flow out of him and into Duan Yu. He couldn't help from uttering a startled "Hey yo!" Ba Tianxi and Fan Hua grabbed him and pulled at him hard. Only with their combined efforts did they manage to separate the two and shake off the internal energy leeching divine art of northern darkness. The internal energy of the three chief ministers of Dali was much greater than that of the Wuliang disciples, and they had reacted more quickly as well. Only for this reason were they spared. Their bodies were covered with cold sweat. They thought to themselves, "The heretical skills of Crown Prince Yanqing truly are formidable." They no longer dared to touch Duan Yu's body. Just as they were at a loss as to what to do, they heard voices from outside the room. They realized that both Emperor Baoding and the self-subduing prince had arrived, and heard Zhong Wanchou's loud mockery. Fan Hua suddenly was struck by a brainwave. "Zhong Wanchou is hateful and vile. Let's play a big prank on him." He immediately stripped off much of Zhong Ling's outer garments, and dressed Mu Wanqing with them. Then he put Zhong Ling in Duan Yu's arms. Duan Yu dazedly accepted her. Hua Hugen and the other two grabbed Mu Wanqing, then returned to the tunnel, covering the hole as they left, not leaving behind the slightest bit of evidence that they had ever been there. Okay, so that's what happened. Okay, they just switched Zhongling with Mu Wanqing. So Mu Wanqing has been rescued. So it looks like nothing untoward's happened inside this cave, okay? So Duan Yu and Zhongling did not do anything. Yeah, remember, Zhongling is also his sister, okay? So it wouldn't have been good if he had slept with her either. Emperor Baoding saw that his nephew was totally fine. He would never have imagined that things would have turned out this way. He was both gratified and amused. For the moment, he wasn't able to think of the reason why this all happened. He suddenly remembered that the yellow-browed monk and Duan Yanqing had reached a critical juncture of life and death in their internal energy competition. If they were disturbed in the slightest, their lives would immediately be in danger. He quickly walked back to the two men and their competition. Beads of sweat the size of a pea were rolling down the yellow-browed monk's head, falling down onto the chessboard below. But Crown Prince Yanqing sat there nonchalantly, the expression on his face unchanged, as though nothing had happened at all. Clearly, victory and defeat had already been determined. Duan Yu's mind slowly became clearer. He was also concerned about the outcome of the chess match, and walked over to stand next to the two men. He saw that the yellow-browed monk's resources were exhausted. Crown Prince Yanqing would only need to make one more indentation, and the yellow-browed monk would be out of moves, and would be forced to admit defeat. He saw Crown Prince Yanqing extend his steel cane, preparing to push down on the chessboard. The place he was pointing at was precisely the critical point of the match. After making this move, there would be nothing more that the yellow-browed monk could do at all. Duan Yu was extremely worried. He thought to himself, "Let me go muddle up the situation a bit." He stretched out his hand and grabbed at the cane. Just as Crown Prince Yanqing's steel cane was about to press down at the Shang quadrant, where the third vertical and seventh horizontal line intersected, he felt a shock in his arm. The energy from his right arm, which was as tightly wound and directed as a bowstring, suddenly was diverted and flew away from him. The sense of startlement? The sense of startlement he felt was not small. Glancing out of the corner of his eye, he saw that Duan Yu had grabbed onto the tip of his cane. Duan Yu had only wanted to pull the steel cane aside and prevent him from striking the critical point in this chess match. But the steel cane, hovering in midair, didn't even budge. He immediately exerted as much force as he could, and Crown Prince Yanqing's internal energy suddenly entered his body via his Shaoshang acupoint. Okay, so now he accidentally is sucking up the energy of Prince Yanqing. Greatly startled, Crown Prince Yanqing thought to himself, "It's the energy dissolving art of that old freak Ding from Xingshu Hai." He knows this martial arts. He immediately gathered his internal energy within his dantian, then transferred it to his arm. An incomparably powerful burst of energy erupted from his steel cane, shaking off Duan Yu's fingers. Duan Yu only felt half of his body go sore and wanted to faint. His body trembled, and only by gripping the blue stone in front of him did he manage to stabilize himself. But a small part of that violent burst of energy from Crown Prince Yanqing had entered the ocean of energy within Duan Yu's dantian, then disappeared. Crown Prince Yanqing was greatly startled, and his steel cane drooped downwards slightly. The tip of it just so happened to precisely alight upon the Shang quadrant, at the point where the 7th vertical and 8th horizontal lines connected. After Duan Yu's interference, his internal energy did not flow smoothly. Although his steel cane sagged, it still carried a tremendous force, and he involuntarily pressed downwards. Crown Prince Yanqing secretly cried out, "No good!" He hurriedly lifted his cane, but at the point where the 7th vertical and 8th horizontal lines intersected, a small indentation had already appeared. Oops, he made a wrong move. When experts play chess, they had to make sure that they would not regret making even a single mistaken move. Much less in this game. A large stone was the chessboard, and the indentations and circles served as the pieces. How could a move be taken back? But the move he had just made, at the point where the 7th and 8th lines intersected, was where one of his eyes were. As anyone who knows even a little bit about chess would know, having a safe pocket of 2 eyes meant those 2 pieces were safe, but a single eye itself was doomed. Crown Prince Yanqing had long ago turned that part of the board into a pocket of 2 eyes, making it a safe base of operations, from which he could launch attacks at the yellow-browed monk's pieces. What sense would there be for him to kill one of his own eyes and doom his position? And yet he had already made the move. Although it was totally counter to the logic of chess, the move was made due to his own internal energy being weakened and unstable. Crown Prince Yanqing secretly sighed. A single failed move will result in defeat across the entire playing field. Is this truly the will of heaven? He was a person of extraordinarily high status and dignity. He definitely would not get into a dispute with the yellow-browed monk over this matter. He immediately rose up, pressing both of his hands down against the blue stone chessboard, staring at it and not moving for a long time. Most of the heroes present had never seen him before. Upon noticing his strange appearance, everyone's attention was drawn towards him. He stared at the chessboard for a long time. Suddenly, without saying a word, he propped himself up with his steel canes, their tips pressed against the earth as though he was stepping on the ground. Each step he took was very large, and he quickly departed. Oh, that was easy. We beat him. Alright, give me a 5-minute break, okay? I'll be right back. And we're back. We're back. Alright, we avoided the worst. We avoided the incest, okay? We're good. And we're good. And we have defeated Prince Yanqing. So it looks like the heroes win this one, guys. Alright, so Prince Yanqing leaves. Suddenly, a series of cracking sounds could be heard. The blue stone trembled and split into 6 or 7 pieces. And so this brilliant game of chess, the likes of which had never been seen before, and which might never be seen again, was erased from the world. What is the break song? I can post it. Give me a second. Don't look at that. There you go. Posted it in chat. Alright. The group of people couldn't help but let out cries of surprise. Aside from Emperor Baoding, the yellow-browed monk, and the 3 remaining evils, everyone present thought to themselves, that person seemed neither like a human being nor like a ghost. That living corpse, who wore green, had such an amazing level of martial arts. The yellow-browed monk managed to win this game of chess by sheer chance. Both of his hands rested against his knees, and he himself was entranced in a daze as he replayed the thrilling events in his mind. He couldn't understand at all why Crown Prince Yanqing, just as victory was within his reach, would suddenly harm his own side and seal off one of his own eyes. Could it be that upon seeing Duan Zhengming and the other experts arrived, he feared coming under attack and thus conceded the match? But he had many helpers on his side as well. He wouldn't necessarily have been defeated. Emperor Baoding, Duan Zhengchun, and Gao Shengtai also did not understand what had happened. But luckily, Duan Yu had been safely recovered, and the pure name of the Duan family was not damaged in the slightest. With Crown Prince Yanqing having conceded the match, a total victory had been achieved. Although there were many details of this encounter which they did not understand, at the moment it was not necessary to thoroughly investigate everything. Duan Zhengchun smiled towards Zhong Wanzhou. Gorge Master Zhong, now that your daughter has become my son's concubine, in the coming days I will send someone to escort her to our palace. We will naturally take good care of these 2 lovebirds and treat her as though she were our own daughter. Set your mind at ease. Dude, she is your daughter. Zhong Wanzhou was already in the middle of an uncontrollable fury. Upon hearing Duan Zhengchun speak in such a mocking tone towards him, he pulled out his saber with a shua sound and chopped at Zhong Ling's head with a loud shout. I'm dying of anger! I'm going to kill you first! His own daughter? But suddenly a long shadow flashed by. With matchless speed, it seized Zhong Ling, then it flew away like a gust of wind, floating tens of feet away. With a ta sound, Zhong Wanzhou's saber connected with the ground. He saw that the man holding Zhong Ling was none other than thoroughly cruel and evil Yun Zhonghe. He angrily said, What are you doing? Yun Zhonghe laughed. You don't even want this daughter anymore. Just pretend that she's dead and that you chopped her to death. Let me have her. Even as he spoke, he flew further tens of more feet away. He knew very well that aside from Emperor Baoding and the yellow-browed monk, whose martial arts were far above his own, even Duan Zhengchun and Gao Shengtai were incredible figures. And so, as soon as he hatched the scheme to kidnap Zhong Ling, he immediately fled. Seeing that Ba Tianxi was not present, he knew that as long as he could utilize his Qinggong, not a single person present could catch up to him. Zhong Wanshou knew that his Qinggong abilities were incredible. He was so worried that he was literally hopping mad, jumping up and down as he cursed. Emperor Baoding had seen Yun Zhonghe run around in circles with Ba Tianxi the other day. Today, seeing Yun Zhonghe move as though he were unburdened despite carrying Zhongling, he knew that there was nothing he could do either. Duan Yu suddenly had an idea flash by his head. Yuan number 3, your master has an order for you. Quick, get this young girl back. The divine crocodile was startled, then angrily replied, Bastard! What are you talking about? Duan Yu said, You accepted me as your master and even kowtowed to me. Are you going back on your words? Are your promises worth nothing more than a fart? You must really want to be a bastard son of a turtle. The divine crocodile furrowed his eyebrows as storm clouds gathered across his face. He thundered, Of course I won't go back on my words. So what if you're my master? If you piss me off, I'll even kill you, my master. Duan Yu replied, It's good that you recognize me as your master. Miss Zhong is my wife. That makes her your master wife. Go get her back for me. If Yun Zhonghe disgraces her, then he's disgracing your master wife. You'll lose so much face that you won't be able to be considered a hero or a real man. The divine crocodile was startled. He thought to himself, These words make a lot of sense. But he suddenly thought to himself that Mu Wanqing was Duan Yu's wife. How was it that this little girl, surnamed Zhong, was also his wife? He asked, How many master wives do I have, anyhow? Duan Yu replied, Stop asking. The bottom line is, if you aren't able to get back this master wife, you'll lose a huge amount of face. All of the heroes present here have seen with their own eyes that you can't even overcome the 4th evil, Yun Zhonghe. That drops you down to the position of being the 5th evil. Heck, maybe you'll even become the 6th evil. To the divine crocodile, being ranked beneath Yun Zhonghe was literally a fate worse than death. He'd feel less miserable if he were killed. He let out an insane roar, then rushed towards Yun Zhonghe. He screamed, Put down my master wife right now! Running and leaping forwards, Yun Zhonghe called out, Yuan number 3, you're really a gigantic idiot. You've fallen for his trick. The divine crocodile loved more than anything else to think of himself as an awe-inspiring person. Hearing Yun Zhonghe claim in front of so many people that he had been Hearing Yun Zhonghe claim in front of so many people that he had been tricked only infuriated him all the more. He loudly roared to the heavens, How could I, Yuan number 2, fall for someone else's tricks? He immediately sped up his pursuit. In the blink of an eye, the two of them, one in the front and the other in hot pursuit, passed outside the gorge. In the middle of his earlier blind rage, Zhong Wanshou had chopped towards his daughter. But at this moment, seeing his daughter being abducted by a thug, he was greatly agitated. After all, the love between a father and his daughter was deep. Not to mention, he realized that if his wife asked him what had happened, he would be incapable of giving her an answer. In a fit of desperation, he too chased after them. Emperor Baoding quickly bade the crowd of heroes farewell, and with the rest of his party also left the gorge. They returned to the city of Dali and returned to the self-subduing palace. Hua Hegun, Fan Hua, and Ba Tianxi emerged from the palace to welcome them. Next to them was a bright and beautiful young lady dressed in the most gorgeous of clothes and ornaments. It was Mu Wanqing. Fan Hua gave a brief report to Emperor Baoding about Hua Hegun digging out a tunnel, putting Zhongling in the stone house, and rescuing Mu Wanqing. Only now did everyone realize that this was why Zhong Wanshou, in trying to harm others, ended up harming himself. Everyone laughed uproariously. Although the power of the yin and yang conjoining powder was very fierce, it wasn't poisonous. After taking a dose of counteracting medicine, then drinking a big bowl full of cold water, the powder's effect was dissolved. At noon, the palace prepared a banquet. During the banquet, everyone happily and animatedly discussed all the events which had transpired at the 10,000 Calamities Gorge. Everyone agreed that the contributions of the yellow-browed monk and Hua Gun were the greatest. If the yellow-browed monk hadn't kept Duan Yanqing distracted, he certainly would have discovered the tunnel being dug. Dao Baifeng said, "Brother Hua, I would like to trouble you to do something else for me as well." Hua Hugan replied, Princess, say the word. I will obey your order." Dao Baifeng said, "Please send someone to collapse the tunnel." Hua Hugan was startled. He replied, "Yes, ma'am." But he did not understand what she was thinking. Dao Baifeng gave Duan Zhengchun a hard stare. "This tunnel passes by Madame Zhong's bedroom. If you don't collapse it, I'm afraid that one of the gentlemen currently present will henceforth go tunnel his way there every night from now on." Everyone present burst into loud laughter. Every once in a while, Mu Wanqing would steal glances towards Duan Yu. Every time their gazes crossed, they would quickly turn their heads away from each other. She knew that for the rest of her life, she could forget about being wife and husband with him. Thinking back to the situation of the past few days where they shared a room, she felt all the more miserable. She heard everyone discuss how Zhongling would become Duan Yu's concubine. Oh. No, that's also a bad idea. And how, despite being kidnapped by Yun Zhonghe, the divine crocodile and Zhong Wanchou would surely bring her back. She also heard Emperor Baoding order the 4 imperial bodyguards to send out search teams to find news regarding Zhongling and to protect her. The more Mu Wanqing heard, the angrier she got. From her bosom, she retrieved a tiny golden case. It was the letter which Madame Zhong had given to Duan Yu, requesting his father come and rescue Zhongling. She handed it over to Duan Zhengchun and said, "Gan Baobao asked me to give this to you." Oh shit. This is a letter that says that Zhongling is his daughter. Okay. So let's see how he reacts. Duan Zhengchun was startled. "Huh?" Mu Wanqing indignantly said, "It's the little girl's astrological birth horoscope." Pointing towards Duan Yu with the golden box, she said, "Gan Baobao told him to give it to you." Duan Zhengchun took the box, his heart aching. He had immediately recognized the golden box as the gift which he had given to Gan Baobao on the night when they had first requited their passions for each other. Opening the cover of the box, he saw a piece of red paper with words written on it. There were 9 words in total. December 5th, year of the sheep, the Chou hour, which is 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. The handwriting was in a trembling scrawl. It was definitely Gan Baobao's personal writing. Dao Baifeng coldly said, "How very lovely. She's even sent the girl's birth horoscope over to us." Duan Zhengchun turned over the red paper, only to see several lines of small words written on it. "Broken-heartedly waiting, every hope has turned to dust. A child cannot be without a father. 16 years ago, I thought about you every morning and longed for you every night, hoping that you would come to me. But now I am out of alternatives. As the May of the Yi Wei year, I belong to the Zhong clan." Every single word was extremely fine and slender. If one didn't squint, the words would be nearly invisible. Oh shit. Duan Zhengchun's eyes reddened as he recalled how very badly he had let down Gan Baobao. Suddenly his heart trembled, and in an instant he understood the hidden meaning behind the words of these few lines. Baobao married Zhong Wanchou in the May of the Yi Wei year, but Zhongling was born on December 5th of the Gai year. Most likely she isn't Zhong Wanchou's daughter. After waiting for me and seeing me not come, she wrote, that a child cannot be without a father. Then, wait, this is him talking. Then she said that she had no alternative to marrying because she couldn't give birth to a child without having a husband. That means that Zhongling is my daughter. It was precisely 16 years ago in the spring when the two of us shared a joyous time lasting not even a full month. That must be when she conceived Zhongling. Nah. After understanding everything, he suddenly blurted out, "Oh no! This won't do!" Dao Baifeng asked, "What won't do?" Duan Zhongchun shook his head. With a forced smile, he said, "This fellow, Zhang Wanzhou, this fellow really has a malicious heart to come up with such a poisonous plot to harm my Duan family. We definitely cannot become in-laws with him. No matter what, we cannot do this." Hearing him hemming and hawing, Dao Baifeng knew that his words were insincere. She took the red piece of paper from his hands and read it. She pondered it for a moment, and then suddenly broke out into loud laughter. So that little girl Zhongling is also your daughter? Her anger rising, she set out a palm. Duan Zhengchun leaned his head to the side to avoid it. Everyone in the hall felt extremely awkward and embarrassed. Emperor Baoding let out a small smile. "Since this is the case, then it looks like we'll have to abandon the idea of marriage." Suddenly, one of the family warriors entered the hall. In his hands, he respectfully offered a name placard. Bowing, he said, "Master Guo Yanji of the Hu Lao Pass has come to see you, Lord." Duan Zhengchun thought to himself that Guo Yanji was the eldest disciple of Ke Bai Sui, leader of the Hidden Ox sect. That's a cool sect. Hidden Ox? Hell yeah. Are they ninjas? Like the hidden, like there's a hidden leaf. What is it? What was Naruto's clan? The Hidden Leaf, right? Am I misremembering? Naruto was Hidden Leaf, right? He was nicknamed the Soul Pursuing Whip. Supposedly, his martial arts were quite good, but he never had any relations with the Duan family. Why would he come from such a long distance? He immediately rose to his feet and said to Emperor Baoding, "I don't know what this man has come here for. Your brother will go take a look." Emperor Baoding nodded, a small smile on his lips. "The arrival of Soul Pursuing Whip is very fortuitous for you. You can seize the opportunity to sneak away." Duan Zhengchun left the flower pavilion. Gao Shangtai and the 4 imperial bodyguards followed behind him. Entering the hall, he saw a small, middle-aged man of great height, seated on a chair to the west. The man was wearing a mourning garment. Mourning? He wore a hat on his head, and his face was covered with dust and dirt. His eyes were red and swollen. It was evident that a tragedy had happened, and that a family member must have died. Upon seeing Duan Zhengchun enter, he quickly rose to his feet and bowed. "Gu Zhangji of Hunan pays his respect to the prince." Duan Zhengchun returned the salute. "Master Guo, you honor Dali with your presence. Please forgive your little brother Duan Zhengchun for not having come out and welcomed you to the city personally." Guo Yanzi thought to himself, "Everyone says that despite being rich and powerful, the Duan brothers of Dali are not arrogant at all. That really is the case." He said, "Guo Yanzi is only a common, ordinary person. For me to beg an audience from the prince is really quite presumptuous of me." Duan Zhengchun replied, "The position of prince is just something set up to show the common people. I have long admired the reputation of Master Guo. Let us address each other as friends and as brothers. There's no need for us to adhere to such false propriety." After introducing him to Gao Shengtai, all three of them sat down. Guo Yanzi said, Prince, my martial uncle has resided within your palace for a long time now, and has long been away from home. Please tell him that I would like to see him. Duan Zhengchun said, Brother Guo, your martial uncle? He thought to himself, there's no member of the Hidden Ox sect in my palace. Guo Yanzi said, my martial uncle changed his name and surname, hiding himself within your palace to avoid a calamity. He didn't dare expose himself to you, Prince. This really was very disrespectful. I hope that you, Prince, will be forgiving and merciful and won't blame him. Allow me to thank you in advance. As he spoke, he rose to his feet and profoundly saluted Duan Zhengchun with cupped hands. While returning the courtesy, Duan Zhengchun was deeply pondering the situation, but could not come to a realization as to who his martial uncle might be. Gao Shengtai was also wondering to himself, who is it? Who could it be? Suddenly he thought of that person's surname and nickname. It must be him. He spoke to a nearby servant. Go to the accounting rooms and tell Mr. Huo that the soul pursuing whip of Hunan, Master Guo, has arrived. He has important news to report to the Golden Abacus, the venerable Senior Cui. Cui? Please invite him to the Great Hall to chat with us. The servant nodded and left. After a short time, the sound of footsteps coming from the back hall could be heard. All alone, a man appeared, slowly shambling forwards. He said, Now, thanks to you, I won't be able to have free meals here anymore. Upon hearing the 7 words, the Golden Abacus, Venerable Senior Cui, the expression on Duan Zhengchun's face changed slightly. He thought to himself, could it be that the golden abacus, Cui Bai Quan, is really hidden here? How could I have been unaware of this? And why wouldn't worthy Brother Gao have told me? Only to see an old man with a humble appearance emerge with a grin on his face. It was Mr. Huo of the accounting room, who assisted in all sorts of menial tasks. Every day, the man was either intoxicated or gambling. He was extremely lazy. The only reason why they had allowed him to stay for the past 10 or so years was because he was totally honest with regards to the accounting. Duan Zhengchun was hugely surprised. So, Mr. Huo really is Cui Bai Quan. How do you say the name? So, Mr. Huo is really Cui Bai Quan? I have eyes, but I'm blind as a bat. How can I possibly recover the face I have lost? Fortunately, Gao Shengtai had managed to come up with the right person in a single try, leading Guo Yanzi to assume that the people of the self-subduing palace had long since known about the situation. Shambling? Shambling means you're walking. You know how like a zombie walks? Like you're walking with your feet close to the ground, like in a lazy way, right? Shambling. Moving with a slow, shuffling, awkward gait, yeah. Originally, Mr. Huo was always 70% drunken, 30% awake, with a confused and uncomprehending expression perpetually on his face. Bai Chuan? Bai Chuan? Okay, say Bai Chuan. But seeing Guo Yanzi wearing mourning clothes, he couldn't help but feel startled. He asked, why are you? Guo Yanzi rushed forwards a few steps. He fell to his knees and began to cry loudly. Martial Uncle Cui, my master has been murdered. The face of Mr. Huo of Cui Bai Chuan immediately changed. His skinny yellow visage turned in a twinkling of an eye, sinister and predatory. Slowly he said, who is our enemy? Guo Yanzi replied, crying, Your nephew is useless. I wasn't able to I wasn't able to definitively? I wasn't able to definitively identify our enemy, but from what I know, I guess that it is probable that the murderer was a member of Gu Su's Murong family. A look of dread flashed across Cui Baichuan's face, but it quickly vanished. In a low voice, he said, We need to carefully calculate our response. Duan Zhengchun and Gao Shengtai exchanged a glance. They thought to themselves, Northern Qiao Feng, Southern Murong. If the Hidden Ox sect has become enemies with the Murong clan, then it will be very difficult for them to avenge their loss. A distressed look was on Cui Baichuan's face. He said, Worthy nephew Guo, please recount the story of how my martial brother died, as clearly as possible. Guo Yanzi said, The murder of one's master is like the murder of one's father. Every day that a vengeance is delayed, your nephew finds it hard to eat or sleep. Martial uncle, please go with me immediately, and I will report it to you on the road, so as to avoid wasting any more time. Seeing the expression on his face, Cui Baichuan realized that it was because he felt there were too many people in the hall, making it inconvenient to speak, rather than being worried about time. He thought to himself, For 10 years or so, I've hidden myself here and not revealed myself at all. I never would have thought that Marquis Gao had long ago realized my true identity and seen past my masquerade. If I do not apologize to Prince Duan, then I will have deeply offended the Duan family. In addition, I want to seek revenge upon Gu Su's Murong family on behalf of my martial brother. But that's something I cannot accomplish by myself. If the Duan family is willing to send people to assist me, things may be different. The difference between friends and enemies is huge. He abruptly walked over to Duan Zhengchun's side and knelt before him on both knees. He repeatedly kowtowed, banging his head against the ground with a series of dong sounds. This was something which was totally unexpected by everyone present. Duan Zhengchun hurriedly stretched out his hand to lift Cui Baichuan up, only to find that it was as though Cui Baichuan's body had been nailed to the floor, not budging in the slightest. Duan Zhengchun thought to himself, Nicely done, you drunkard. So your martial arts is this profound. You totally deceived me. Exerting his strength through both of his arms, he lifted Cui Baichuan upwards. Cui Baichuan no longer resisted and rose to his feet. As soon as he stood up, he felt as though the 100 bones in his body were filled with unspeakable discomfort, as though a tiny boat was being thrown about by killer waves in the ocean. He knew that it was Duan Zhengchun's way of reprimanding him. He thought to himself, If I generate my energy to resist, then the self-subduing prince will be all the more upset with me. Perhaps he will even suspect me all the more of having crafty ulterior motives, for having snuck my way into his palace. While his internal energy is raging in my body, I might as well fall down. He collapsed, head facing the sky and cutting a sorry figure, indeed, as he let out a cry. Ow! Duan Zhengchun let out a small smile and extended his hand to help him up. With a slight touch, he dispelled the nauseous feeling in his body. Cui Baichuan said, Prince, Cui Baichuan was pressed so heavily by his enemy that he had nowhere to run. For this reason only did I hide myself within your manor and rely on your aid. Only by hiding myself under your glorious name have I managed to live until today. Cui Baichuan never revealed the truth to you, Prince, and I deserve to die 1,000 deaths for my offense. Gao Shengtai replied, Brother, why be so modest? The prince knew your true identity long ago. But since you, Brother Cui, were unwilling to reveal your true identity, the prince did not want to break your disguise either. Forget about the prince. Even others know about the situation. That day when Duan Yu was such BS. That day when Duan Yu was fighting against the divine crocodile, didn't he grab Brother Cui and claim you were his master? He knew that within this palace, only Brother Cui could handle that vile fellow surnamed Yue. Actually, that day, when Duan Yu had grabbed Cui Baichuan and claimed that he was his master, he was purely putting on a show for entertainment. As Cui Baichuan's appearance was most unsightly and humble within the palace, he had picked him to mock the divine crocodile. But at the moment, upon hearing these words, Cui Baichuan believed and did not doubt them. He secretly felt ashamed. Gao Shengtai continued. The prince has always been a welcome and hospitable host. Brother Cui, you came to Dali without any malicious intent. But even if you had come with an intent on causing harm, the prince would have courteously welcomed you and thrown a banquet on your behalf. Brother Cui, why stand on such ceremony? The implicit meaning of this statement was that the only reason Cui had not been exposed was because he had not come with an evil intent. If he had, he would have been disposed of long ago. Cui Baichuan said, Marquis Gao is brilliant and wise. Although your words are very kind, I, the one surnamed Cui, should make clear to you the reason why I sought refuge within your palace, and why I must depart now. Otherwise, my actions would be too inglorious. Only this matter involves others. If I may be so bold, I would like to explain. Duan Zhengchun nodded. He said to Guo Yanzi, Brother Guo, although the enmity between you and your master's killer is deep, there's no need to quibble over such a small amount of time. Let's slowly discuss the situation. Before Guo Yanzi had a chance to respond, Cui Baichuan had already hurriedly said, Naturally, I will obey the requests of the prince. At this moment, a family warrior entered the hall. Bowing at the entrance, he said, Reporting to the prince, the abbot of Shaolin has sent 2 eminent monks with a letter for you. Ever since Shaolin had been founded in the Tang Dynasty, it had been the Mount Tai and the Big Dipper of the Wulin, meaning that it held a position of extreme eminence. Upon hearing these words, Duan Zhengchun immediately stood up and left the hall to personally welcome the guests. No one has been sent to make sure the brother and secret sister get up to anything and stop her from being a concubine yet. Zhong Ling is still kidnapped, right? He was kidnapped by the 4th evil, so I guess they're relying on the 3rd evil to capture him. He saw a pair of middle-aged monks be escorted by 2 of his family warriors, making their way past the small yard. One of the monks, who had a dry and shriveled-up appearance, bowed towards Duan Zhengchun, then said, The junior monks of Shaolin, Huizhen and Huiguan, pay their respects to the prince. Duan Zhengchun cupped his hands, returning the courtesy. For you to have traveled such a distance to brighten my doorway must have been very difficult to you. Please, come inside and have some tea. After entering the pavilion, the 2 monks did not sit. Huizhen said, Prince, this humble monk has come here on the instructions of my abbot to deliver a letter to Emperor Baoding, or the South-subduing prince. As he spoke, he withdrew a wrapped bundle from his breast. Slowly, he unwrapped it, removing a yellow parchment from within, then offering it respectfully to Duan Zhengchun. Duan Zhengchun accepted it, then said, My imperial brother actually is inside at this very moment. This is the perfect time for you to meet him. He said to Cui Baichuan and Guo Yanzi, Gentlemen, please take some refreshments for now. We will speak shortly. He then brought Huizhen and Huiguan deeper within the palace. Actually, at this moment, Emperor Baoding had already retired into the warm pavilion and was having a tranquil conversation with the yellow-browed monk. Duan Yu sat next to them and listened quietly. Upon seeing Hui Zhen and Hui Guan, he rose to his feet. Duan Zhengchun handed the scroll over to Emperor Baoding, who opened it. The letter was addressed to them too. The letter was addressed to both of them, and was filled with such flowery language as, "Long respected your illustrious name, but never had the fortune to meet you. Rule over the south, acting with vast benevolence, admired by thousands of people of exceptional ability and wisdom, guardian of the Buddhist truth, glorifying the saintly path," etc., etc. Finally, it came to the meat of the letter. "My younger martial brother, Master Xuanbei, will be heading towards your respected area with his 4 disciples. On the basis of our shared worship of Buddha and of our friendship within the Wulin, I respectfully request that you take good care of him." The letter was signed, "The lowly disciple of the Shaolin Monastery, Xuan Qi, pays 100 respects." Emperor Baoding rose while he read the letter to show the respect he held for Shaolin. Hui Zhen and Hui Guan politely stood off to their side. Emperor Baoding said, "The two of you, please be seated. All of us followers of Buddha's teachings and as members of the Wulin share the same heart and arteries. Whatever the abbot of Shaolin requests, we will certainly exert all of our efforts to comply with. Master Xuanbei's understanding of Buddhism is extremely subtle, and his martial arts level is deep and profound. I admire him to the extreme. Might I ask when he will grace my humble abode? We eagerly anticipate his arrival." Hui Zhen and Hui Guan suddenly fell to their knees. With a series of dong sounds, they kowtowed repeatedly. They began to cry bitterly. Wait. Why? Emperor Baoding and Duan Zhengchun were both startled. They thought to themselves, "Can it be that Master Xuanbei has died?" Emperor Baoding stretched his hand out and helped them up. "Both of us are members of the Wulin. You cannot be so polite towards me." Hui Zhen stood up and indeed said, "My master has passed on to Nirvana." Emperor Baoding thought to himself, "This letter must have been intended for Master Xuanbei to personally present to me. Can it be that he died within the borders of Dali?" He said, "Master Xuanbei has returned to the western heavens. The Buddhist family has lost an eminent monk, and the Wulin has lost a skilled exponent. This is mournful news indeed. May I ask when Master Xuanbei entered Nirvana?" Hui Zhen replied, "A month ago, my martial uncle, the abbot, received a letter stating that the 4 greatest evils of the world were headed towards Dali with the intention of making trouble for your majesty and for the self-subduing prince. The Duan dynasty of Dali reigns supreme over the southern world. Naturally, you wouldn't fear such a trifling group as the 4 evils, but the abbot feared that you two might not know of this news and fall into their ambush. Thus, he sent Master Xuanbei and we 4 disciples to come here and inform you. This is why we came." Emperor Baoding felt a deep sense of gratitude. He thought to himself, "No wonder Shaolin has been held in the utmost respect for the past hundreds of years. He has taken it upon himself to safeguard the Wulin. Although we are located in the distant south, he has so much concern over our well-being. Although in his letter he asked that we take good care of Master Xuanbei, his actual intent was to station him here to assist us." He immediately bowed slightly and said, "Abbot Fanzheng is a man of great kindness and thoughtfulness. I do not know how we brothers can repay him." Hui Zhen replied, "Your Majesty, you are too modest. Our group rushed southwards upon receiving his directive. On the 28th of last month, we arrived at Dali's Liangzhou prefecture and took shelter for the night at Shanjie Monastery. Who would have imagined that on the morning of the 29th, As we four disciples woke up, we saw that our master had been murdered. He died in the main hall of the Shanjie monastery. As he came to this point, he was sobbing so much that no further words would come out. Emperor Baoding let out a long sigh. He asked, Was Master Xuanbei killed by means of poison or hidden weaponry? Huizhan replied, No. Emperor Baoding, the yellow-browed monk, and Duan Zhengchun and Gao Shengtai were all startled. They thought to themselves, with Xuanbei's level of martial arts, unless he was struck by hidden weaponry coated with a poison that would kill on contact, even if the enemy had ambushed him from behind, he wouldn't be completely defenseless and die on the spot. Within Dali, what evil master martial artist has such a high and vicious level of ability? Duan Zhengchun said, Today is the 3rd. The 28th of last month was 4 days ago. Yu was kidnapped on the night of the 27th. Emperor Baoding nodded. But it wasn't the 4 evils. For the past few days, Duan Yanqing had been focused on keeping guard over Duan Yu. He definitely wouldn't have had the time to travel such a great distance to commit murder at the Shanjie monastery. In addition, even if it were Duan Yanqing, he wouldn't have been able to silently and stealthily kill Xuanbei in the blink of an eye. Huizhan said, As we propped up our master, we felt that his entire body was icy cold. He had gone to Nirvana hours ago. There was no trace of any battle having occurred within the main hall. We rushed out of the temple, and the monks of the Shanjie monastery assisted us as well. But within a 10-li radius, we couldn't find a single trace of the murderer's passing. Emperor Baoding gloomily said, Master Xuanbei not only died on behalf of the Duan family, but perished within the borders of Dali. No matter how one views this, we two brothers definitely cannot let this go unpunished. Huizhan and Huiguan immediately dropped to their knees, kowtowing in thanks. Huizhan spoke again. After the 4 of us discussed the situation with Abbot Wuxia of Shanjie Monastery, we decided to temporarily keep our master's remains at Shanjie Monastery. We didn't dare to cremate him on the spot, so as to allow our martial uncle, the abbot, to see him with his own eyes. The other 2 disciples rushed back to Shaolin to report the situation to the abbot. This humble monk and Huiguan rushed to Dali to report the situation to your imperial majesty and to the south-subduing prince. Emperor Baoding said, Abbot Wuxia is of venerable age and eminent virtue. His knowledge is broad, and he knows many anecdotes regarding the Wulin. What did he have to say? Huizhan replied, Abbot Wuxia said there is an 80 to 90% chance that the murdered was a member of Gu Su's Murong family. I think it means the murderer, not the murdered. Duan Zhengchun and Gao Shengtai exchanged glances. Both of them thought to themselves, once again, it's Gu Su's Murong family. Who is this Murong family, huh? Up until now, the yellow-browed monk had been silent. He interjected. Did Master Xuanbei die due to a strike to the chest, with the enemy technique being the Great Veda Scepter? Huizhan was startled. Great Master, your guess is just so. How did you... The yellow-browed monk replied, I've long heard that Master Xuanbei was an expert at Shaolin's Great Veda Scepter technique. When fighting opponents, their ribs would snap from his blows. This martial arts skill, although fearfully powerful, is too tyrannous and brutal. It really does not seem like a Buddhist martial arts at all, alas. Duan Yu interrupted. Right, this martial arts is too brutal and ruthless. Hearing the yellow-browed monk criticize their teacher, Huizhan and Huiguan naturally felt resentment, but knowing that he was of a senior generation, they did not dare to contradict him. Upon hearing Duan Yu chattering from the side, they were so furious that their eyes bulged out. Duan Yu pretended not to notice, paying them no mind. Duan Zhengchun asked, Marshal brother, how did you know that Xuanbei died from the Great Veda scepter? The great brown monk sighed. For Abbot Wu Yu of Shanjie Monastery to be so certain that the murdered was of the Mu Rong family. Wait. Why do they keep saying murdered? So the monk who died was of the Mu Rong family? No, right? This must be a typo. Let's just read on. For Abbot Wu Yu of Shanjie Monastery to be so certain that the murdered was of the Mu Rong family, he certainly must have had corroborating evidence. Gusu's Mu Rong family is known for something called using the opponent's skills, exercising them upon the opponent. Have you heard of this? Okay, yeah. I think that's a typo. They mean the murderer. Okay, so the abbot, not the abbot. This monk, Master Xuanbei, was killed by his own technique. Okay, and the Mu Rong family has a technique calling using the opponent's skills against him. Duan Zhengchun mumbled to himself, I have heard of this saying before, but never really understand its meaning. The yellow-browed monk murmured, using the opponent's skills, exercising them upon the opponent. Using the opponent's skills, exercising them upon the opponent. Suddenly, a look of dread flashed across his face. Emperor Baoding and Duan Zhengchun, in the decades they had known him, had never seen him be afraid. The other day, when he was engaged in a life-and-death duel with Crown Prince Yanqing, he was clearly in a losing position. Although he was in an extremely difficult situation, that look of utter calmness never left his face. For him to now show fear indicated that their opponent definitely was no one to look down upon. For a period of time, there was only silence within the warm pavilion. After a long moment, the yellow-browed monk said slowly, This old monk has heard that within the world there is a person known as Mu Rong Bo. His personal name is Bo, abundant, and his martial arts, knowledge, and abilities truly are abundant and profound to the extreme. It seemed as though he knew every single unique and consummate skill of every sect within the Wulin. He knew every one of them, and could use them as well. In addition, whenever he wanted to kill someone, he would use the same skills which that person had gained fame with. Wow. Alright, I think this is a good spot to stop at. Okay, we're halfway through the chapter, so we're good. Alright. It took a while. Did that seem long? Oh my god. Did you guys like the chapter? Alright. So good. Well, we went almost 2.5 hours, guys. 2.5 hours. All right, so we resolved the incest situation. Now we're introduced to, I guess, another act of the novel. Who is this Mu Rong family? And looks like they're the next enemies, I think. I think my voice is going. My voice is leaving my body. All right. Half of it was Wordle. But half an hour on Wordle. Because I forgot there was a fucking D. Jesus Christ. All right. Ooh. Almost finished. Almost done. Hi guys. Thanks for joining. Cheers. Wordle took 40 minutes. It's 36 minutes at the most, okay? It was 36 minutes at the most. I don't know about this 40 minutes stuff. Hi guys. Thanks for joining. I love you.